What's going on, West Avenue? Hey, on this Tuesday, as we continue to talk about and just work through parenting is teaching, teaching is parenting, and they go hand in hand. And you guys, parents as teachers, way to go. Doing a great job day in and day out. Thank you so much for all of your efforts and hard work. It's not easy, but the good work that you get to do, what a gift and a blessing it is to be home for such a time as this, to make families, to improve upon family routines, to make just wonderful things happen in the home. Or in your neighborhood or community or whatever you're doing during this time. And so what a gift and a blessing it is. Today, as we continue our talking on what we're talking about and what teachers do regularly, is what parents can do as you're at the house. And then we talked yesterday about observe, and that goes along with my story of 10 years of teaching. And so today, as we talk about observe, a thing that we as teachers we have to make time, and as I encouraged you yesterday at the end of yesterday's video, to observe all the good that your kids, your children have to offer, of all the strengths and the skills that they have. And I'm going to tell you that observation has to be individual. That observation and feedback that you give them, and praise and criticism, or as well as just encouragement and correction, that it all goes together, but it has to be individual. As I think about the classes that I've taught, you guys, I would literally teaching health to sometimes 30 kids in a class, each section every hour, as well as in PE. When I got to teach PE, there would be 3 teachers for 90 kids. So we would run 90 kids in our gymnasium in Montana in the winters, snow, negative degrees outside, and so there would be 90 of us in the gym for an hour, 3 adults, and we had to try our best to love and maintain structure and respect, and our routines had to be clean, had to be successful in order for everyone to be safe, to be active in those gyms, and to enjoy activity. I mean, that's the main focus: enjoying activity and healthy lifestyles and things like that. So with that being said, you have to observe, though, one-on-one. It has to be an individual thing. And so what's great is when I get to at West Avenue, I get to bring students in one-on-one into my office and on the behavior side of things, and I really get to be just right on the front lines of observation, of seeing what happens, of what the kids give me during different things. So, for instance, as I usually encourage kids, basically pushing them past their defiance and aversion to, usually it's reading. I'll be honest. Most of the time, it's for us, it's young men not wanting to read. And haven't been encouraged, haven't had enough time to practice reading, haven't had someone to coach them as they are reading. But it's interesting because literally the young men that I've gotten to serve over the past couple of years, the 2 years at West Avenue, this aversion to reading, because devices are a bigger temptation, would rather be doing that, or something fun, or a game, or whatever they would like to be doing. Something, a PE is a big ticket motivator, recess, all those things, instead of read. And I think, as I observe, what's interesting is because whenever I pull out a book, they instantly show their true colors. Instantly. Now, my story, I'll be honest, I hated reading too. I didn't like to read. I actually, honestly, I spark notes and cliff notes most of my academic educational career until into high school, actually about 17 years old, my junior year, my high school required us to read plays, and I enjoyed plays because it was short reading versus long novels and books that I didn't enjoy reading. And I also got into magazines, and I enjoyed magazines and articles, and I'd read those because I enjoyed that, because it was something I was interested in versus the books and things. So that's a key part that we as parents, we can take that into effect, that we can bring in things that the kids are interested in, read about that, and watch their motivation go up. But it's interesting that whenever I give the books or things that this young men need to read for school and practice and write something about it, that actually their true colors would come out. And so what I mean is they'd start to cuss. They might try to fight or hit. They might try to flip the desk or the chair or start to cuss me out. You guys, regularly they would want to do and fight their way out of my classroom instead of read a book. And as I observe that, I consider what was put there. Because what we as adults, what we put in is what we get out. What we model, teach, the students observe. I mean, my daughters watch me constantly. I enjoy to dance with my daughters, and as I'm dancing to the music, my daughters are instantly mimicking my movements. They to the T. As I say something, they pick up on it, and then they use it in conversation. If I do something that is just negative and like I said last week, of just not being respectful to my wife and honoring her, then they do that. For instance, I'll give you an example. So there's a counter in our house. We have this, it's not a bar because it's not big enough to be a bar, but it's just like a counter. It's a little higher than our countertops, and it's just this place where I tend to put stuff around and I just leave it there. And so that right there is just the visual reminder so I don't forget. And I put those things there because I don't want to forget to do whatever it is. But it's like I put the mail there to read some piece of information I need to read, or I put my keys or my wallet, or I put some little small house project, some screws or some nails or something that I put that right on that counter that's right next to our countertops and where we in the kitchen that splits our kind of kitchen and dining room area, where that I always put things there and leave them there, and my wife has asked me constantly to not leave them there, not leave things there. As I'm reading a book called Sacred Marriage, of trying to enhance my marriage, then it talked about honoring and respecting your spouse. Honoring, do you give honor to them? And I thought, number one thing, I was like, my wife's asked me, I don't know how many times to not stack things on that counter, but I do it. And so I sat at dinner table the other night. This was very humbling because I decided to teach that to my children. I said, hey, how do we give respect and honor to mom? Because the same thing happens with my daughters. My daughters leave things lying around. They just start piling stuff up in corners. They're not putting their things away. And my wife gets so upset and frustrated with them not doing their part and us not holding them accountable. It's a big cycle. So, but literally, I said, hey, I'm not giving respect and honor to mom. But I love her. That doesn't make sense. Why am I not doing that? What is the number one thing? I looked at my family. I said, what's the number one thing that dad does that is not honoring to mom, not respectful to mom? And they all, just hands down, just instantly, my two oldest daughters said, you leave stuff on the counters. Point blank. Automatic. And I said, man, they're learning something. I'm teaching them something that I don't want them to learn. I'm modeling something that I don't want them to do. When these young men give me disrespect and cuss words and try to fight me, how I respond is key. I want to model respect and kindness and love so they can give that back to me. But unfortunately, all they have in those moments is anger, aggression. So what do we as parents, what do we download, or what do we give to our children that comes right back out? Comes right back out. Because I've never looked at a first grader and called him the N-word, effing this, be this, I effing gonna kill you. I've never done that. I want you to sit back and observe what your children give you. What are we modeling? What do we want to give them? We've got to model and give them good things. Give them kind words. Give them encouraging words. Give them loving words. Give them respectful words. Give them words that can help others. Not tearing them down, not cussing them out, not making fun of them, not roasting them. I mean, there's so many things that we do that we have to look at ourselves, that it comes down to us parents leading the way of what we want our children to become. And we've got to think about what comes out of our mouth, of things that we do. Because they are observing us. And what you put in is what you're going to get out. So my last challenge is, what are you putting in yourself? There's a verse that talks about that the flesh and the spirit are divided. But if we are feeding our spirit good things, good music, good shows on TV, good things, surrounding ourselves with people that have good behavior, that say things that are good and encouraging, then we're filling ourselves up, maybe reading the Bible, whatever it might be, that we're filling our spirits up, and that's going to come out. That's going to come out to others. It's going to come out of our mouth. Literally, what's in your heart determines what you say. That's going to come out. But the more that we just flood our brains as we listen to all these things, what's going to come out? And our children observe that, and it's going to come right back out, either to yourself or to somebody else. What, as a teacher, that's what we observe, what many students bring in, and we intentionally teach, hopefully, as good teachers, we teach the good. Not just the academics, but the character, the good character of being kind, being respectful, being responsible, trying your best and never giving up. May we as parents do the same. Hey, you guys, love you guys as always. Something I thought about that I wanted to include is we love because of His love. Because of His love, then we love. Let's not just hear it, let's do it. Family love is what you do. May we live to please Him. There's so many things I want to encourage you guys, filling ourselves with good things so that good can come out of us. And we give that to our children so good can come out of them. Just a little observation. You guys have a wonderful Tuesday evening, and we hope to see you again tomorrow. All right. Love you guys.